Well, good morning. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. So today's the day after Christmas, and I'm just getting ready for a muzzleloader hunt this afternoon. But I figured I'd take time this morning to get my tree stands all put away and explain to you a little bit about some of the tree stands that I use, how I got started with them, when I got started in bow hunting. And behind me, I got a couple climbing stands. This is my Lone Wolf climber. And this is my Summit climber. Mostly I use the Lone Wolf. If you see any of my videos, it's my favorite one for climbing stands. I also have 2 ladder stands, and I also have a hang-on stand, which I'll explain to you in a little bit. But right now, I just thought it'd be fun. I want to weigh these couple climbers right now to see exactly what they weigh. So we'll just get my scales down. And I am looking for another climber that's a little bit more lightweight. And I know some guys like to saddle hunt. It's just not something I've been able to get into yet. Climbing is pretty easy for me. Let's just see what these things weigh. When I first got into bow hunting, the first thing I did was go out and buy myself a ladder stand. And a ladder stand is great if you've got some land where you can leave the stand set up. And if you're hunting private land, that's great. Public land, not so great. So climber's the way to go if you're hunting public land, for the most part. Private land, if you've got a spot where you can set up a climber or 2 climbers, I mean, you can get ladder stands rather. You can get ladder stands cheap. I mean, I went on Craigslist this morning and on Facebook Marketplace. Now's the time to go on there. Hunting season's just about over, and guys are starting to sell off their gear and stuff. So you can get some pretty good deals out there. Anywhere from $75 up to $200-300. You can pick up a wide variety of stands. So I'd recommend, if you're gonna pick up a used stand, just make sure you check it out. Make sure that you know that's not got cracks in it or anything like that. But for the most part, you get a ladder stand for $75-100. You can even get new ones for as cheap as $100-150 too. So that's great if you get some private land to set up on. But let's see what these weigh. This is a Summit sit and climb stand. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that's 24 pounds. So 24 pounds on your back plus your bow. It's still heavy. It's one of the lighter stands out there, but this is the sit and climb model with a flip top on it. I also have the XOP transport system on it, which is very comfortable to carry with. It adds a little bit of weight, but it is very comfortable to carry with. So if you're gonna get a climbing tree stand, make sure you get something that you can carry. And we'll see what the Summit is. And the Summit just got regular straps on it, nothing fancy. I got these stretchy straps. They're not comfortable at all. It's not comfortable to carry this stand at all. So this Summit stand, right, the way it sits, is weighing in at 19.6 pounds. So a little bit lighter than the Lone Wolf, but you can see it's a lot bulkier too. It's noisier, it's bulkier, and in my opinion, it's not as easy to climb with this particular model. This is, I believe it's called the open shot. So there's nothing in front of you. It's great for bow hunting, which is what I do mostly of. So it's a little bit lighter, but with these Summits, and I got a buddy who swears mine, he loves this Summit sit and climb. It's probably a little bit heavier than this, but I don't really like these cables. They're hard to adjust, they're noisy, and so I don't use this stand that often. I've also got up here. This is your typical hang-on type stand. This is a cheap one. I don't know where I picked this up, but I did buy it new, and I got a set of sticks with it. They're all steel. This is a steel stand, so this stand's okay. If what I'm going to use this stand for is I'm going to set up one of my ladder stands on some private land that I've got to hunt across the street here. And I'm going to set up this hang-on stand right next to my ladder stand, either in a tree right next to it, that we can step from the ladder onto this hang-on, or if I can find two trees that are close together, and I'm going to use it to film out of this next season over a food plot. So that's a great option for this type of stand. If you got a kid and you want to bring your kid out with you, you can go climb up the ladder stand and set him in here or her in here, and they're close and you can keep an eye on them, and it's really a great way to view. So, but getting them out in the woods is a little bit tougher. So this hang on alone is 23 pounds. And you know, you got the sticks that go with it too. So along with the ladder stands, these are probably the least desirable to carry around. Now I know there's a lot of guys that have switched from climbers to hang-ons, and they got these ultralight, like the Helos, Novix Helos, and even Lone Wolf made them at one time, which they don't make them anymore, but it's now the Novix. XOP makes a real nice hang-on stand, and they've got these really sweet sticks that you put on the tree and stuff. But you know, those are coming in at 18 pounds or so, and then you got the hassle of putting the sticks on the trees and then hanging the stand. It's a process to it too, but guys get pretty good at it. I just haven't. I'm not there yet. I'd much rather, if I'm going to make that much noise or do that much work, I'll just come out with my carry-on stand. So I'm going to take you around the back of the side of my shed here and show you my ladder stands, what I've got going on with those, and tell you how I use those a little bit. Sorry for the sun. So these are my ladder stands, and the one on top here, this is oh god, I've got this stand about 10 years ago, and I've been using it every year since. And the one on the bottom's a little bit bigger, a little bit more comfortable, and I've just got that stand. Last year was the first season I used that. So these are great ladder stands for if you've got private land to hunt and you can leave them out there. And it also depends on how you're getting them to your tree. To get these stands out to your tree, you need you know, the little one on top, I used to carry that maybe 300-400 yards out into the woods. Not too bad, but the big one, if I can't drive my truck or four-wheeler right up to it, to where my stand location is, and that's a no-go. So they're comfortable, they're easy to use. Once they're out there, you can get in and out of them quiet. The deer don't seem to mind them at all. Once they're there, you get them in early, and they're great stands, but they're heavy, so take that into consideration. But again, I'm going to use one of these stands in conjunction with the hang-on stand to do a lot of filming out of this year, and then next year, and then the other stand I'll put up in another location on the private land that I have, just to have another option to hunt. So lots of different options with tree stands. And these stands, I think the stand on top, I think I paid maybe $150 for that stand. It went on sale. You go at the end of the season, like now, you can pick them up at your Tractor Supplies, your Runnings, Cabela's, Bass Pro. You get whatever's left on the shelf there, and they usually mark them down. And even that bigger stand that I got on the bottom, that one I got, I think it was $150 on sale, and that was at the beginning of the season. So you can get some good deals on these types of stands. But again, you got to take into consideration how you're using it, how you're going to get it out to your location. Where are you using it? You don't want to put one of these on public land, because anybody can take it, anybody can use it, they can mess with it. You don't know, safety. I always use a harness when I'm up in my tree stands, whether it's the climbers or even these ladder stands. I'm always hooked up, because you just never know. You're going to doze off up there, or you're watching a deer and you make a wrong move and you come right out of that thing, and you could be in a place where you don't want to be. So anyway, that's a little tutorial on the tree stands that I have. All right, everybody. I figured I'd give you a little. Since I was talking about tree stand safety and everything, show you what I have. This is just a Hunter Safety Systems vest that I use, but it works really well. I've had this for a few years now, and it's just easy to put on and take off. So I've always got this on when I'm hunting out of a tree stand. Sometimes I wear it when I'm not hunting out of tree stands, because I keep a lot of different gear in it. So that's that one part of it. And then I was showing you my tree stands earlier. This is the pack that I keep on my lone wolf stand. And as I was saying, my tree strap, I keep a tree strap in there. And this is the rope style tree strap. And again, I think this is a Hunter Safety Systems. And it's real easy. It's got this, I think it's called a printer's knot, or I can't remember the name of the knot, but anyway, you just get that around the tree, like so, and you know, you snug it up and you're ready to go. You're safe. That knot won't go anywhere. So this thing probably weighs about 2-3 pounds itself. So that's in my pack. And also in my pack, I've always got some sort of bow hanger. So, you know, that'll screw it to the tree. I have a non-screwing type for when I'm on public land. And I'll also always carry a saw, you know, to trim limbs and stuff. So that's just a cheap little saw, but it looks really good for what you need out in the woods. And of course, I keep other things in this bag too. A place for my coffee. It's got a place for my, you know, my buck grunts and different things like that. But you know, the bigger the pack, the more you're gonna put in it. So I'd recommend get the smallest pack you can, but keep the essentials in it. And the essentials are certainly for safety. So when I'm hunting with some of my other mobile setups, I'll just use a pack, you know, a regular backpack, and this works great too. I keep my rattle antlers in it, and same thing, keep tree straps in it, some ropes, all your essentials in your pack, but try to keep it light because you're going to be moving out through the woods. So hope to see you later tonight. All right, so there you have it. All my tree stands that I use, you know, the 2 climbers. I got the hang-on stand, and I got the 2 ladder stands. Just, you know, I started with that cheap ladder stand. I hunted out of that for 7-8 years before I got any more stands. Got into the climbers, got into the hang-on stand a little bit, and a bigger ladder stand. So, you know, you don't have to go spend a ton of money on these things. You can get into it pretty cheap. Myself, I like hunting out of a tree stand better than the ground. I mean, there's a lot of guys that hunt from the ground and they're successful, and they shoot a lot of deer on the ground. I just have had better luck hunting out of a tree. Maybe I'm not as good as some of the guys that hunt the ground. So, you know, I'm not as stealthy as they are. But either way, whatever you're doing, if you're seeing deer, keep doing it. For me, I like to hunt out of a tree, whether it be a climber or a ladder stand. Those are my 2 favorites. If I can ever get into hang-on stands, you know, I'm going to try this year with that hang-on next to my ladder. That'll give me the ability to bring a friend and to do some filming. Maybe have a friend do some filming, or bring kids hunting and let them see some deer, and maybe even me harvesting a deer, which is what would be really cool for some young hunters. Ladder stands work a lot better for the private land, in my opinion, if you can get the stand to the location that you're hunting. Obviously, you got to get those stands to that location. So the private land that I'm hunting across the street, I can get stands in and out of there with my 4-wheeler if I have to. It's not a big piece of property, so it's not a big problem. There's other hunting properties that I've hunted that you can't get the ladder stands in there. It's just too far of a walk to get to where you want to hunt. So you're packing in a climber. And again, I weighed those climbers for you. You know, you're talking 20 pounds, 22 pounds for the climber. Now add your pack on that, add your bow or your gun. And you could be hauling in 40 pounds every time that you go out to hunt. So you got to be careful on what you're bringing. Watch your weight, watch where you're going with them, and make sure you got your safety strap, your safety vest and all that on there too. I always wear a harness, like I said, when I'm up in a tree, just because you never know what's going to happen. You want to be tied up there in case you fall asleep or something like that, or if you just make one little misstep when the deer are around. You know, you got a lot going on when deer start coming around you. You get nervous sometimes, and you don't want to make a misstep and then end up on the ground and have no deer. So it's a lot better, you know, to be tied up, you know, take that extra second, put that strap in the tree. They're very inexpensive. most of the tree stands come with a harness and a strap for the tree, and they work fine. They're a little bit more cumbersome to put on and take off, but they're absolutely safe and they work fine. And I used one for years before I bought a more expensive vest, hunter safety system vest and tree strap. And again, that wasn't expensive either. I think the vest that I have was about $125, but it's a really nice vest. It keeps my rangefinder, it keeps all my gear in it, and it's very easy to put on and take off. And the tree straps that I use now are the rope style tree straps, which I like. They go on the tree easy, especially when you're using a climber. You're not leaving anything there on the tree, so you got to take it off, put it on every time. So those rope straps work great for that. For my ladder stands, I'll just put a regular tree strap up there and I'll leave that hooked up all the time. It'll stay there with the ladder stand. And when I get up in the tree, I just gotta take my vest, the lanyard off my vest and hook it to the strap that's already in the tree. So always do that. Another thing I wanted to tell you about when you're hunting private land, this is just what I do. Not everybody does this or has to do this. But I would recommend that, whatever private land you're hunting, you make a deal with the landowner and you tell them what you're going to do for them. Sometimes you trade work. Like, for instance, the land that I'm hunting now, that I just got to start hunting on this year, I always give the landowners half my deer. So I tell them right up front, any deer that I get, you're going to get half. And I do all the work. I go out and I shoot the deer, I'll drag the deer out, skin the deer, butcher the deer, package the deer, and the landowner will get a package of meat from me, which is equivalent to half the deer, and I give it to them. And even if they don't eat deer meat, I tell them, you take that and you give it to somebody in your family that does eat deer meat. Give it to one of the other hunters on the land that didn't harvest the deer. Help them out. This land that I'm hunting has more than one hunter on it. So no, I don't think the other guy has shot any deer on this land this year. So if the landowner chooses, he can give that deer meat to them. And if the landowner doesn't want it at all, I would just recommend you donate that deer meat, half of that deer meat or a portion of that deer meat at least, to a charity. You can give it, there's a lot of charities that take deer meat, or you can just give it to a family that that needs some food. So it's a great way to kind of give back a little bit. Now this year I shot 2 deer, 2 different landowners, and they each got half the deer. What they did with it, I don't know. I don't care. That's the deal that I made with them. If they didn't want that deer meat, I would donate that to another family. That's just the way I do it. 1 deer a year is enough for me. My freezer's full right now with what I have. But, some people may need a little bit more than that, but do something, Also, with the landowner that I'm working with now, I'm going to make some improvements. I'm going to put a food plot, a no-till food plot on his land this spring. I'm going to put up a few feeders this year, just to try to attract the deer to that area. I know there's different schools of thought on feeders. You shouldn't feed the deer, you should feed the deer. I'm gonna try it. I got some corn that I'm gonna give them, and it's just for us to get a little inventory on what's going on there, see what we got for bucks. I know that I'm on my cameras, I got 4 cameras out on that property, and I share all the data that I get from those cameras with the landowner. So he knows too what's going on out there. So I'm out there putting cameras up, I'm getting the cards out of cameras. When I get photos of bucks, does, whatever we got, we know we got 5 does left out on this small piece of property, and they're just hanging right in there. And we knew we had 2 bucks in there this year during the rut. I know there's at least 1 buck left in there now, but not sure who else is has a home range for that 40. I think we're hunting 45 acres right there. So it's not a big piece of land, but it is holding some deer. So we want to get some food plots in there. So I'm going to do that with the landowner on my own too. He gave me permission to do some food plots in there. So we're going to try to make his land better and a place for the deer to come in. So just remember, one other thing too is I'm talking about bow hunting, how to get started in bow hunting. And if you didn't see my other video on that, go check it out. I'll put a link for that in this video. But that was about, what kind of bow to get, how to get a bow, and how to get started in bow hunting. In this video, it's more about tree stands, how to get started. You can get a used one, you can get a cheap one on sale at the end of the year. Start with one type of tree stand, and then you can work your way around to what you like. But you don't have to just use them for bow hunting either. You can hunt with a gun out of a tree stand. I do, and I know a lot of other people do too. It's not as popular for whatever reason, but I have better luck up in the tree, whether it's hunting with gun or with bow. I'd rather be up in a tree. You can see more, you can see the deer coming more, and it just seems to work better for me. So for all you out there that are gun hunters, don't you know, you can definitely use a tree stand to hunt out of with a gun. And it's not expensive. You don't have to go buy the most expensive tree stand. You don't have to go buy the most expensive equipment. Just use your head. If you're buying something used, you know, check it out, make sure it's not going to get ruined. I mean, it's not broken or cracked or anything like that. And you know, if you're going to bring it out on public land, make sure that you take it in and out with you, so you're not leaving a mess for everybody else out there, or giving somebody something to steal on you, you know. So got some more videos coming up later on. Hopefully tonight I'm going to have some muzzleloader footage for you. I'd really like to get one more deer before the end of the year here. I got tonight, and then probably my next hunt will be New Year's Eve, and that's it. And my season is over officially for deer season, for hunting anyway. But we start thinking about next year and getting into more and more with the food plots and the feeders, like I said, and hopefully get some more land secured for next year to hunt a couple different areas. And I'll be looking for some equipment too. Like I said, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, you can get some good equipment used, and the guys start selling stuff off now this time of year. So happy hunting to all you out there. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell. My channel's been growing lately pretty good, and I'm going to keep bringing more content for you. Let me know in the comments what kind of content you like. If you got any questions, shoot me an email or put something in the comments. I check them often, and I'll hopefully see you later on tonight.